Had I won first, you'd have seen a grown man cry. You'd have seen me on the ground crying. So a good thing I didn't win first. So I didn't damage anybody's mental state by seeing a grown man rolling around crying on the ground.
Welcome to season 3 of the this is why they have editing.
Yeah, that was a great start.
Let's start that one again.
I think you should keep it.
Hey, you know what? You do it in the beginning. That way you can easily cut. Welcome to season 3, the Newton Lake episode. So this is the Kayak Bass Connection podcast. I am your host, Jared, and we are the official podcast of the Southern Illinois Kayak Club Bass Tournament Trail. So we are actually here tonight to talk about the very last regular season event in the SIKC calendar. But hey, we got a bonus deal for you tonight. Not only do we have the top 3 finishers from Newton, but we also have our 2025 Angler of the Year and the top 3 finishers in the Angler of the Year race. And we're accomplishing all that with only 4 guests. So I think that's pretty cool. So tonight, if you say you have talent on tonight's podcast, that's an understatement. Definitely we have the cream of the crop on tonight. Go through these first. The winner of our Newton tournament with 91 inches of big bass was Kevin Cox of Goreville, and he is here tonight. Welcome, Kevin.
It's good to be here.
And in second place at Newton is Will Abbott of Granite City, Illinois, with 86 3/4 inches, including the big bass of the event. Hey, welcome to the podcast, Will.
Thank you so much.
And I think this is Will's first appearance on the podcast. We're so glad to have him here.
Yes, it is.
So now in third place, we have he's kind of the honorary co-host of the podcast because he's on here as much as I am. Darren Hemker from Germantown. He had 86 inches. Welcome, Darren.
Oh, thanks for having me back on. Glad to be here.
It wouldn't be a podcast if you wouldn't have cashed a check and come back on the podcast with us. So we had a great finishing top 3, and just to make things nice and neat and easy, the top 4 in fourth place in the Newton tournament was our 2025 Angler of the Year, Dalton Williams. Welcome back.
Glad to be here.
So I should add 2024 and 2025 Angler of the Year, Dalton Williams. That's even more impressive. Now, we went through the first 4, and I was looking at the standings, and I thought, man, I just can't skip who was in number 5. Oh, he's not with us tonight. James Fott. James is the owner of Midwest Kayak Company. Heck of a tournament angler, heck of a great guy. And we really appreciate the Midwest Kayak Company's support of the Southern Illinois Kayak Club. So I wanted to mention his 5th place finish. He had a great day at 85 inches as well. So, James, you're listening. Thank you very much for your support of the tournament trail. All right, guys. So here we are with a small group of people who have accomplished a whole lot this season. I want to start out with you, Kevin, though. So what did you think going into this Newton event with your experience in Newton? This is the first time I think we've been there this time of the year, a little later in the year. So what were you kind of expecting out of Newton when you showed up?
Well, I was expecting a really, really good shallow bite. I figured they'd be chasing shad up shallow. Honestly, I figured everybody in the club would have a limit, As a matter of fact, I went pre-fishing on Friday, and it was just anything that you threw up on the bank, you just caught fish all day, 15, 16 inches. I just figured it'd be a numbers game with somebody having a good one. So when I got there, that's pretty much what it was.
So you found Friday your fish were up shallow?
Yeah.
Now you definitely weighed in. You weighed in quite a few fish. I think you actually uploaded 14 different bass, and you didn't upload many 14, 15 inches though. You had 19 1/4 is your biggest bass of the tournament. So what was the difference, you think, between catching the just say regular size fish, 14, 15 inches fish, to the bigger ones?
Well, when I started fishing Saturday morning, all my fish were gone. The fish that were just loaded into the bank on Friday, they were just non-existent. The the place where I planned on pulling up and having a limit in the first 5 minutes, there was no shad. The bass were gone, and it was just completely different day. When the sun came up and you could see all the shad had moved out to the middle of the lake, it was weird because Friday the wind was out of the north, and then it switched overnight and started blowing out of the south, and it changed everything.
Conditions, right?
Yeah.
Now your voice is really low. I don't know where your mic is, we might try to get a little closer to that mic. I think it'll be fine in the post-production.
Okay.
So did anybody else have a chance to pre-fish on Friday?
Yeah, I pre-fished Friday. I got there really early, and I went to the spot where I wanted to start was by the dam. And kind of like Kevin said, everything that I got was on the bank. Like you had to hit the bank. And I didn't find anything decent. I didn't find anything. I had 117 and a quarter through that whole day, but everything was 15 or smaller all day long. So I wasn't real hopeful with what Saturday was going to turn out like, and I found some schooling bass chasing shad, and I sat on them probably for a half an hour just catching 12s left and right, believing at some point I'd pull something big out of there, and it never happened. And finally I just said, time to move on and find something different. So I moved across the lake, and much didn't change.
So you walked into Saturday not very optimistic then, it sounded like.
No, I mean, I knew I could get a limit with what I had found, but I didn't think I was going to find a good limit. I mean, I figured I was probably going to have, 17s, 16s, and 15s. So
now I know that Dalton, you don't like pre-fishing, right? So you didn't pre-fish Friday. And Darren, what about you? Did you come up Saturday morning?
Yeah, I came up Saturday morning, but the weekend before, I was out there on Sunday just to kind of get an idea because I hadn't been to Newton since last year. And I got there on Sunday. It was like 1:30, 2 o'clock. We had left Michigan early in the morning and headed down there, and I got on the water on that cold water ramp where I personally prefer fishing in. I fished for like 4 hours without hardly catching a fish. I mean, it was bad. The water temp was 75 degrees that day. It was terrible, terrible fishing. And
wow.
I randomly threw a 8-inch glide bait up pretty close to some fallen timber and caught a 20.5-inch fish on that first cast with it. And I was like, oh, what do we got here? So I threw that for another 2 hours, and in 2 hours I had 98.5 inches, and I was very, very excited for the tournament. So
Yeah.
I didn't come up Friday because of that. And then I got there Saturday morning and talking to people, I was like, man, this bite might still be there. It could still be good. I mean, I was hoping I had to make a 45-minute run. I had my motor going, and I went 45 minutes without even making a cast. And I got to my starting spot and hit that bank, and I only caught one 14-incher. And I was not in a good mood after that because I was like, oh boy, my whole plan had to change. So I started throwing some spinner baits, some crankbaits, stuff like that, and picked up I think a 17 doing that. And then finally I got to a point I was like, man, this is bad. I think I'm on the wrong side of the lake. So I decided I was going to switch sides of the lake. So I'm on my way down, and I met Dustin Siegel. Started talking to him, and he said it was about the same on the other side of the lake. So we kind of sat next to each other and just kind of moved down the bank, and we each started, he'd pick up a 15 and I'd pick up a 15, and he'd pick up a 16 and I'd pick up a 17. It was very, very back and forth. And then we hit some rocks, and I caught a couple of fish off them rocks. And finally I decided to make a little bit of a run about 1.5 miles down and got to the next spot I wanted to be at. And I told Dustin, I said, I'm gonna fish the Nico right here. You can fish whatever you want in front of me. And he fished out in front of me, and he didn't catch anything. He didn't even have a bite at first. And my second cast with a Nico, I caught an 18. And then I went 2 more feet, lost another one, flipped another the same bait as like 1 Newton last year on, flipped it in there and caught another 18, then caught another 17, and that really boosted, or another 16. That really helped. That saved my day is all it did. And after that, it was dead.
Wow.
I didn't catch a fish after noon. It was bad on that side of the lake. That cold arm was dead.
Dalton, what about you? How did your day unfold? Similar to what Darren was saying, or?
Yeah, I mean, I caught my biggest fish probably within 15 minutes of the tournament, and it was where everyone was staging. I was joking around beginning, like, you guys need to get out of here. This is where my fish is. And I caught an 18 there. But I had no pattern on the big fish. I had one on a point, I had one halfway down a cove, I have one in the back of a cove. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I just kind of bombed casting. Like, all right, well, I got an 18 on this point. Might as well hit points. Didn't catch another big fish on a point. I'm like, okay. Maybe they're in coves. Never caught another big fish in coves. It's like, all right, I'm totally lost now. And 9 o'clock hit. That's where my bite died. Was after
Yeah.
9.
Yeah, I think my bite died around 11:30 or 11:30. I couldn't get a bite anymore.
I guess I just found the
Is everybody
magic spot.
having?
I caught fish all day long. It was, well, I didn't catch my first one until I think probably 7:45, 8 o'clock. And as a matter of fact,
I think I caught my first at 6:30, and I thought, heck, it's going to be a good day. And I mean, it was fine because my second fish was the 20-inch bass.
Mm.
So that's when I was really like pumped up. Then I'm like, oh man, this could be really good, because it wasn't good on Friday, but it was good on Saturday morning.
Yeah. Well,
and that was one that I threw the spook onto a rock and pulled it off the rock, and as soon as it dropped in the water, he just crushed it. So they were on the bank by the dam, real tight to the bank.
Were they were near those rocks?
Yeah. There was two big rocks kind of just poked out of the water, and I overthrew and landed on the bank, on a rock on the bank. When I popped it off the bank in between those two rocks, he just blew up on it.
Well, I was there Thursday, and I didn't even make it down to the dam, but it was hot. I mean, it was hot. The sun was just blazing. It was like 92 degrees. That surprises me that they were on those rocks.
Yeah. He was in such shallow water. If I'd have looked, I'd have probably seen him. But I didn't see him because it was still twilight.
But then, like Kevin, you said your fish from Friday moved out into deeper water, you think, from Saturday, chasing the bait fish? Chasing shad?
So like I said, that the first point that I pulled up on, I had caught a 19 and a half the day before and had just left it and, went into the pocket beside it and caught a couple fish. And I thought, well, this could be good,
Yeah.
And so went in there, and like I said, I didn't catch a fish, so I just started running the bank and heading, I guess that'd be north up the hot arm, and I caught that one fish. I actually caught it with my live scope, only the second one I've ever caught looking at it eat. But there was a ball of bait, and it looked like a little stump, and I pitched a tube out there a couple times, but I think the second time I just saw that fish sink to the bottom and eat it, and it was only about 13 inches, I think, 12, 13 inches. Fished around that a little bit more, couldn't find anything, and went to the next point. And, the wind was blowing out of the south. And so if you ever have one of those podcasts of what people need to bring in their kayak, and anchor is a real good thing to bring and not leave in the bed of your truck. Because, I'm thankful for spot lock, but it had the nose of my boat facing the wrong direction. So I was fishing, throwing back behind me like this and
right,
and dragging a jig. And I actually was getting ready, had just made a cast and was getting frustrated on this point. There was some rock and stuff out in about 10 foot of water. I was getting frustrated and hit my trolling motor button to take off and started to reel in. And as soon as I did, I think it was a 17 3/4. And I was like, holy crap, this is pretty cool. So I just kind of reset. And, I basically fished that point the whole day. And the fish, the wind was blowing in on it. The shad would move in and out. And when you'd see shad start flipping up there, you may as well get ready because you're getting ready to get a bite.
So you're fishing on the bottom then?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Yeah. So I alternated between a half ounce jig, a 3/8 ounce jig, and towards the middle of the day, I started catching fish also on a DT10. But so yeah, I was still fishing pretty close to the bottom. So
very nice, very nice. So Newton has quite a reputation. You guys disappointed, or did it meet your expectations?
It met my expectations. I've never done that well at Newton, and this is probably the first time I've done that well at Newton, which I do like Newton, but it seems like in tournaments, I can't find the fish in tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like in practice, I know where they're at, but then tournament day, I can't find them. So this was the first day that I had a good day of finding fish, but it was also a day where I stuck to one area. Usually I'm all over the place, just searching. But today, this day, I said, I'm staying at the dam, and I'm going to live or die by the dam.
Yeah, I know. Dalton, you've kind of talked about that strategy of not trying to cover the whole lake, right? Trying to kind of focus in on one specific section and, and just doing
focus
what
on
you
one
can.
section. Don't go 200 yards away from that.
Don't go 200 yards away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I decided after the tournament that we're pretty sure Dalton's mom must have put some kind of wireless like dog collar on his leg, and if he gets outside of 250 yards from the boat ramp, he gets shocked. I'm pretty confident that's what's going on here. That's the only thing I can come up with because he doesn't leave that boat ramp area ever.
No. If you're trying to look for me, just go to the boat ramp. I'm somewhere around there.
He can't leave the ramp until the light goes out.
Yeah. Hey, if I need to go to the bathroom's right there.
Your
Out.
strategy is to scout the bathrooms
Yeah.
and stay within.
I don't have to. I don't have to worry about going on bank and stepping in it.
Yeah, you need to write an article for Bassmaster Magazine about that strategy you got there.
Yeah.
Problem is,
Don't
is
have to
boat
get my-
tournaments you can't fish that close to a boat or to the boat ramp.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
so
a solid idea. I mean, that's where the boat people are releasing the fish.
Yeah.
Every fish has a coal tag hole in its mouth.
so this tournament had some pretty good numbers that were put on the board. Do you guys keep track of the leaderboard during the day, or do you just kind of do your thing and see how it works out?
Yeah, I don't track the scoreboard because it can defeat you. You know, if you're tracking it, you know, somebody with my capabilities, if I start watching Dalton and Darren, and if they're posting their stuff, which they don't post, I mean, if I was watching them, it would be defeating to see what they're doing. So I don't watch the board. I do what I'm gonna do, and then I wait for the end. You know, I just don't want to be defeated in the day looking at the board going, man, look what he's got, look what he's got. And then, you know, you start getting that pressure of, I got to find some fish. And then you start messing up when you start pressuring yourself. So I try not to pressure myself by tracking the scores.
That's great advice, Will, because I've come to the same realization. I don't check it at all. I know what kind of day I've had. If I've had a great day, I might be a little more anxious during the award ceremony, but usually I'm just like, let's see who won. I know it wasn't me.
The past probably 3 tournaments that we've been to now, I started checking the leaderboard the first hour or two, specifically just to, because in my head, if people are catching fish early, more than likely they're throwing moving baits and or topwater baits. So if I'm making a run down a lake and I'm seeing people are posting big fish over and over and over, so Sandcrest is a great example. People started posting big fish early at Sandcrest. So instead of making the 4-mile drive or pedal that I was going to make, I pulled over and started fishing, and it paid off. Where if I hadn't glanced at the leaderboard and noticed that people were catching big fish early, I probably would have just made that run, and it could have ruined my day. I mean, it's definitely good to look at it sometimes, but you got to stop looking at it. It comes 8, 9 o'clock. There's no point in looking at it past that because there's nothing you can do. All you can do is fish harder. So I think the first hour or two, it can be very beneficial, but after that, it's not beneficial. It's going to hurt you more than help you.
I think the first two, I'm so focused at what I'm doing that I don't really pay attention to the score tracker just because I'm so focused on what I have thought about for the day that I want to accomplish. So I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing and hoping that what I'm doing is right. So I think I more look at the board once I get my first fish and put it in there. That's when I'll look because, you know, I'm already in there. I'll take a glance. So-and-so's got some fish, but I'm not sitting there going, you know, every hour, who's got what. It becomes defeating.
And seeing somebody has 95 inches. If somebody has 95 inches, you're like,
yeah.
It's like,
I mean, at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, I look at it and I see 90 inches. Yeah, now you're like, holy cow, what am I doing?
Yeah, like Susie at Banner last year. She had 92 in like the first hour.
That's crazy. Well, like Wade this year at Coffeen.
Yeah.
I mean, Wade had 90 some inches like 7 o'clock. You know, and it's like, holy cow, I gotta get going.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are all speaking to that mental game, and you know, Dalton, you're 2-time Angler of the Year. If you had to give someone advice on the mental game, the mental aspect, what's helped you be successful in the last couple of years, is there anything you changed in the mental game that has helped you out?
Basically, don't look at the leaderboard. Basically, fish the way you want to fish. Don't look at somebody and they're like, well, he's catching on this, and you switch to that, and you're fishing with that all day and not catch fish.
Mm-hmm.
But you might not be good with that lure that they're throwing. That's like you lose confidence in it. So I think it's just confidence, honestly.
Yep. Yeah, I believe that too. I believe if you're confident with what the stuff you're throwing, you just stay with it. I mean, going to something that you're not used to throwing, it's not going to help you. I mean, you may catch one or two, but for me, I always stick with the things that I like to throw. Like I don't like throwing Ned rigs. I don't like throwing those type of baits like that. My mentality is not good enough to sit and wait for that stuff. I like to keep moving. So I'm more of a moving bait guy. So I'm throwing moving baits all day long.
Now, Kevin, I know you like to do a lot of jigs, right? You do a lot of jig fishing. Do you have to put yourself in a different mental spot to do that than do something like the crankbaits or an active bait? I know, just speaking for myself, I actually feel like I can fish better with jigs than I can with active baits because I can concentrate.
I think when you're fishing a jig, a lot of times you got to get your mindset in the fact that you're probably not going to get as many bites.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go down the bank and flip a tube or flip a jig. It doesn't seem like you get near as many bites on the jig as what you will a tube. You just kind of got to get yourself in the mindset that, you know, I think that you're probably going to catch better fish, but you're just going to have to. A jig, I think, is a bait you kind of got to put in your hand and not put it down. So, you know, just you know, it's something that you've really got to stick to when you decide you're going to throw it. But you know, like I didn't. As a matter of fact, I didn't even get a bite on a jig on Friday. I caught almost everything on a. Some guy told me about this bait called a rocker head. It's kind of weird, kind of neat, and I was throwing that. As a matter of fact, I caught a ton of fish on that thing on Friday. I mean, it was just really crazy. It was really crazy, honestly. And I mean, you don't have to set the hook. All you got to do is just start reeling, and you got fish on there.
It's the most addicting bait to throw. It's amazing.
Oh my goodness, it is. It was really cool, and you know, I had already had
jig,
in
right?
my mind that I was going to catch a limit on that thing in the first 20 minutes on Saturday.
So it's a jig?
Yeah,
it's a jig.
It's kind of like a swing head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wobble head.
Okay. I know what you're talking
I call
about.
it a rocker head. Same thing.
Okay.
Just a football head with a wire that attaches it to an EWG hook is all it is. Yep.
Yeah.
That something about that attachment point in the water makes it look so good. It comes like a Texas rig comes through stuff really good, but that rocker head, you can pull it through the reeds, you can pull it through grass. It just pulls right through. It's amazing. It's a really amazing little bait. Surprised not many more people use it.
It was pretty awesome. But you know, I couldn't get a bite on it Saturday, so I switched to that jig, and that was just what they wanted. And I just thought it was kind of crazy how they had moved from a foot of water to 10 foot of water, you know, just overnight. Yeah, that jig was the deal. And what was funny about the jig was that day, the bigger and bulkier the trailer, the more the fish wanted it. I was using a 4-inch Yamamoto Yamakra on the back of it. And honestly, when I first looked at it, I thought there's no way I'm going to catch a fish on this thing. And, you know, it just looked ridiculous on the back of there. But, you know, that was just what they wanted that day.
Right.
I don't know about y'all, but I personally think that Newton, the past probably 2 years really, getting a bite at Newton is not the same as getting a bite at Newton in 2019. I feel like the fishing pressure is killing that lake, physically killing that lake. It is incredible because you used to be able to go there and you wouldn't catch 100 inches. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you could go there and anybody could catch 30 to 40 fish, almost guaranteed. And the past 2 to 3 times I've been there, those fish are so stingy, and every fish you catch has hook marks in it. It's just, it's getting too much pressure. Newton's really getting beat up bad.
Yeah, I hooked one that I had to pull a hook out of the gullet of the fish. He had already been hooked previously to me catching him, so I had to pull that hook out too.
I had one spit up a French fry worm in the bottom of my boat. It had a big worm in its mouth, you know.
Well, I could have swore one of my fish coughed up a chicken bone. I don't know what it was, but it looked like a chicken bone.
Wow.
Yeah, Newton, you know, is famous for being one of the top 100 every year from Bassmaster. I'm sure, and they have tons of tournaments on there. Man, there are so many of the lakes that we see that have, if the fishing's good, the pressure is just incredible.
Well, I went to St. Chris the week before Newton, and I didn't look at the schedule. I made the mistake of not looking what tournaments were there, and I got there before sunup. I got there about 4:35, and when I pulled into the main ramp, there was boats lined up down the road. And I thought, man, what's going on? So I pulled in the lot, and there was even more boats in the lot. So I sat there for maybe 10 minutes, and the boats just kept coming and coming.
Jeez.
And finally I pulled out and left, and I stopped and talked to somebody, and they had some kind of high school tournament there. I'm going to say there was at least 100, 150 boats going out of that launch.
Lake's not that big.
No.
It's such a double-edged sword seeing this kind of pressure, because on one hand it sucks because you get to a lake and instead of it just being 25, 30 kayaks on a 2,000 acre lake, it's 30 or 25 to 30 kayaks, and it's 40 to 50 boats, so it's really getting tight. But then on the other hand, it's look at how many people are getting into to fishing. I mean, you used to never see that. It'd be nice to see more quality fisheries because, I mean, everybody's learning which ones are really getting good. So everybody fishes those. And then you go to a fishery, you go to fisheries that are not nearly as quality, and there's still a bunch of boats there, though, because there's not enough places to fish anymore. I mean, the amount of people getting into fishing is just insane. Absolutely insane.
Especially in Illinois. We don't have all those big lakes like other states have.
It's such a weird thing to think about because I hate it, but I love it at the same time.
Yeah.
It'd also be nice to see these guys go to catch photo release tournaments.
Yeah.
It would.
You know, that's one of the great things about, you know, MLF and, you know, what we're doing is we're taking a picture of these fish and they're going right back to their home. They're not getting hurt.
Exactly.
We're not killing them. And, you know,
exactly.
I just really for the life of me don't understand other than for bragging rights, you know, and I'm the biggest duck in the puddle. I fished boat tournaments for years, but, you know, it's always nice to walk up there with a big bag of fish. But, you know, honestly, it's no different when you go up there with Tourney X and, you know, you got a big bag of fish. You know, it's the unknown. But, you know, for the sake of our fisheries and the sake of the fish, people really, really need to start grabbing a hold of this. A catch board's not that expensive. You know, I've had so many people over the years ask me too, well, how do you keep people from cheating? Well, I mean, you know, the first online tournament I was in, somebody got caught cheating trying to bump the same fish like 2 hours apart, you know, because of the scale patterns. There's like a thumbprint on the fish. And, you know, if there's a way to cheat, somebody's going to figure out how to cheat. But just the fact that, you know, with all the today's technology that we can take a picture of a fish and put it back in the lake right then, I really, really wish people would start gravitating to it.
Yeah.
You know who does
I think artificial intelligence is going to reduce some of that cheating in the future too, because those photos are going to get analyzed much more stringently than they have in the last 5 or 6 years.
If they do that and they start letting them loose where they're catching them, Dalton's going to have to get more than 200 yards away from the ramp.
Yeah,
I know.
Dalton will never win another tournament. He's really fighting for the biggest bag, bring him into the boat ramp.
I might have to tether to Darren. I'm like, all right, tell me where the fish are.
So this is this was the final event for the regular season. Have you guys heard any news on the Crossroads tournament? Is that going to be happening again this year or not?
No,
it's not. Huh?
Doesn't sound good.
That's done.
Well, it's good while it lasted. So, what are you guys looking forward to? Any additional tournaments or any goals the remaining of the year?
I got KBL championship at Banner Marsh next weekend.
Nice.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
2-day tournament. I can't wait.
Did you
Actually,
say
me and Joe are going there this Sunday.
I got some spots if you need some, Will. I got you.
Hey, I'll take everything I can get.
Yeah, I'll let you know a couple good spots. I want to see Will go beat all them KBL guys.
That's what I'm talking about.
I wish I could.
Well, you got this. I'll be watching from Canada.
Well, that's Susie's home lake, so
that can be a blessing and a curse. But
yeah, I can.
Yeah. If Susie's spots die, she's done.
Mm-hmm. I know that Will is signed
when
up.
her spots are on.
I know Will is signed up. I'm not sure about Dalton, but we've got that BASS event at St. Chris, October the 13th, I think it is. I don't know, Dalton, are you fishing that?
No, I kind of made my mind up. I kind of made my mind up of I'm just only fishing Southern Illinois Kayak Club tournaments.
You just don't want to get embarrassed on the national scale. I see how it is.
Yeah, it is. No, it'd be real embarrassing. I'll sign up and I won't make the cut.
It wouldn't surprise me, honestly.
But
Kevin, I'll
where's
probably
it
be down
at?
there at
Where's
St.
it
Chris,
at?
I think.
St. Chris. Hey, I'm used to being a contributor to the pot, so it doesn't bother me to be a contributor. You know, if it wasn't for guys like me, guys like you guys would never win any money.
Guys like Dalton. Dalton's the one that took all our money this year.
Yeah,
All I
we
did
all-
was get my money back.
Yeah. So what'd you do with all that money you won this year, Dalton? What'd you do with it?
Bills.
Bills? Well,
Yeah.
I guess it went to good use then, didn't it?
Yeah.
So, Kevin, I know that you just, the last 6 months or so picked up Live Scope. Darren's been running it for a year or so. So, are you feeling any more confident with that Live Scope, Kevin, than you did, a couple months ago?
Honestly, when I quit trying to look at the fish, that I was trying to catch fish looking at them and started using it more as a tool of finding bait and bait sitting on stumps and stuff like that. Honestly, at Newton, that was kind of a factor for me because I could scan and on that point and see where the bait was at. And if I could throw in those bait balls and not worry about trying to see a fish eat a bait, it's really it's really starting to become a neat tool in that way. So I like it, but I also don't like marrying myself to it all day to where I feel like I have to use it. But at Newton, it was a help. Being able to see the bait balls on the points and stuff like that.
Darren, you got any follow up to that? I know you got probably more experience with it.
So the first, I'd say 6 months is I had my Live Scope. I tried to catch fish with it. I was trying to find that fish, catch that fish with it. And it costed me many, many, many hours on the water because in a kayak, it's almost impossible, unless you are extremely skilled at it, almost impossible to track that one fish down or that school of fish down and catch those fish. So in a kayak with Live Scope, I use my Live Scope to find weed edges, to find a log, to find a rock, to find structure. I'm not casting at the fish, I'm casting at structure. Because fish almost always stick to structure, especially hungry fish. So I don't use it the way I thought I would, but man, I've fished many times without it. I can catch fish just fine without it. But it is such a nice tool to have to be able to see where that grass line is, where that log is. I mean, instead of making 10 casts to find that log, I'm making 2 and I'm gone onto the next one. It makes you a much more efficient angler. But I don't think for our water, especially out of a kayak, I don't think it's going to win you or lose you a tournament, or win you a tournament. It definitely can lose you a tournament, though. I know people, I'm not going to say names, but I know people that fish tournaments like Newton all day long on Live Scope and didn't do as nearly as good as he could have if he probably would have fished the bank.
Right. I wanted to go back to something Kevin was talking about with the measuring boards. I recently came across, I don't remember where it was at, but there's 2 guys that are coming out with a system where you no longer need the board. Their photo system is just going to be able to capture the length of the fish just by the photo without a board.
Wow.
That's crazy. So is that an app that they're developing or something?
They're developing an app to eliminate the bump board. This way, there's no, the board is cheating or whatever. The app, the photo takes the picture and measures the fish directly for you.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to play in with like pinching the tail,
Yeah, I think it's going to, technology is going to make the catch photo release more viable than maybe it has been in previous years. Just like trying to submit the same fish twice, it's going to recognize those scale patterns.
Yeah, I believe the photo system they're using detects that. It says this fish has already been photoed.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So if this is kind of the end of the tournament year for at least Southern Illinois Kayak Club. So looking back over the year, has there been any equipment changes you've made this year that has not worked out or worked out for you? Any particular piece of gear that you picked up this year that you particularly liked or didn't like?
I picked up a Willow Vibe from one of the tables that Josh had, and surprisingly, that little lure, man.
The Willow Vibe?
Yeah, it's a Z-Man Willow Vibe. So it's like a schooling baitfish lure. So, if you see the baitfish schooling, you can throw into that and it runs through the top column of the water. And I guess that little blade vibrates enough, and every time I've used that thing, I've hooked into a fish. Actually, when I went to Wisconsin for KBL's tournament up there on Wisconsin River, I caught mainly all my fish on that Willow Vibe.
Interesting.
Nice.
I used it at Pyramid. The only biggest fish I caught on it was a 15.5.
Interesting. I was going to bring a picture up. My internet's not working very well right now for some reason.
Yeah, Saturday at Newton, I was sitting on that bait ball, and I just kept throwing in there with that thing, and it was just nonstop. Every cast, I was catching a 12 or 13. I mean, I was having a good time, but they weren't quality fish, but it was fun.
You were talking about, something that I got at Newton. As a matter of fact, James brought it to me, and I'm sure this is something that most people have, but it was kind of a game changer for me on that Saturday. Was just a track mount rod holder to be able to have a rod to be able to stage right beside you instead of having to reach behind you. That's a nice piece of equipment that I am glad that I had called him and asked him to bring. But being able to just get a rod right out of your way, even if you're bumping a fish or something like that, that's kind of a nice thing to have.
I picked up for the first time this year, or first time ever really. I picked up a spinnerbait, and oh my goodness, we had our tournament in Michigan. You guys are gonna laugh all you want. I am not a spinnerbait guy. Never have been. Always hated them. Well, my philosophy on
chatter.
Always have been. Exactly. I was in Michigan, and I went on the Grand River. That's where I decided to fish. We could fish the Muskegon, the White, or the Grand for our KBT event up there. And I went on the Grand River, and the current was flowing down, and everywhere there was a slough or something that would connect to the river, so it'd form a point. The wind would be blowing into the point, and the current would be coming this way across the point. And every point was about 1.5 to 2 foot deep, and I had grass all the way up almost to the surface. And I was throwing a chatterbait, and I was getting some bites, but I couldn't get the bites I really wanted. I couldn't get as many as I was hoping for because I couldn't keep it out of the grass because it was too shallow. And I'm like, man, what can I throw here? I tried throwing a buzzbait, and they'd come up behind it and nip the tail. They couldn't quite catch up to it, and I couldn't keep it slow enough for them to eat. So I was like, I bet a spinnerbait will work. So I put a 1/4 ounce spinnerbait on, and you would not believe the amount of fish that I caught. During our tournament up there, there was, I think, was it 12 anglers in this tournament? And I personally, by myself, caught probably 60 to 70 fish during the tournament. And I caught more fish individually than all the other people caught total. And my fish weren't tiny either. They're 14, 15, 16, 17-inch fish. I've always been so against spinnerbaits, and I loved fishing that spinnerbait. I caught so many fish, spinnerbait physically broke in half. I wore a spinnerbait out because I caught so many fish on it. And
next year we're going to see you with a box of just spinnerbaits?
There's a chance. I mean, but I tried throwing like a 1/2 ounce, and it's too heavy. My arm got tired, and I couldn't keep it high enough in the water column. But man, it's a Berkeley 1/4 ounce with 2 willow blades, and my goodness, super light.
Largemouth or smallmouth?
All largemouth. Everything I caught was largemouth. And I was reeling it. If I couldn't see the blades on the surface, like just underneath the surface, I'd reel faster until I could see them. And it was dumbfounding. I've never seen anything like that. I caught 2 or 3 at Newton like that. There's insane to see. So I'm going to be throwing a spinnerbait way more because that was so much fun. I was on the phone with Dustin, and he called me. The duration of our call was 53 minutes. I caught 23 fish over 14 inches in 53 minutes. Just insane. At one point, I went 4 casts in a row. I caught a fish. My 5th cast, I missed one. I fell off at the kayak. And then I went 3 more casts in a row catching fish. Just the most insane staged up bite I have ever seen anywhere ever. And I was catching them on a damn spinnerbait. So don't be afraid to try new baits. Even I can try new baits and catch fish. It's a miracle.
But you're
new to you. That's old school bait right there.
I also caught one on the knuckle bait. I don't know if you guys remember this from last year at Crossroads. Susie had a bait called the knuckle bait. It's got an acrylic ball and like a spinner blade arm, and then the bottom. I caught a fish on the knuckle bait. It was that good of a bite. I mean, it was dumbfounding. I'm having a ball, and I jumped off one that probably would have been 18, 19-inch fish that really would have helped my score. I individually beat all the other teams. Even my teammates beat them all. It was insane.
Those days are rare, aren't they?
It was so much fun. None of them were giant. I mean, I think I had 2 over 18, but oh my gosh, it was fun. Yeah. So much fun.
Yeah, I have one of those knuckle baits. I've never caught anything on it.
I don't care for it. I just had to prove a point that I can catch a fish on anything.
It's a weird bait. It's a really weird bait.
It's so weird. And it doesn't knock in like any rhythm to it. You're just reeling and it just kind of knocks here, knocks there, knocks there, here.
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah. The only way I caught him fishing kind of like a buzzbait. I just reeled it on the surface. So it was just kind of doing this on the surface and ate it that way. I caught so many fish in practice.
Bait, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. I caught so many fish in practice that my arm was sore. So I went back and caught more, and I couldn't hardly lift my arm at Newton. Then I was throwing an 8-inch glide bait at Newton. I couldn't hardly throw that damn thing on Sunday. Oh my gosh, it was the best problem I've ever had with my arm because I caught so many damn fish.
That's a good problem to have.
Oh, it's amazing.
This is exactly the opposite of what I had happen at Newton. So I was there. I had all the stars lined up coming up to this tournament. I had no obligations on Thursday. I had no obligations on Friday, and I had the tournament scheduled Saturday. I'm going to Newton. So Thursday morning, I drove down to Newton. Got to plan on camping down there. So I took my boat or my kayak with the motor all the way to the north end of the lake, and motor dies. Motor goes out. Messing around with it, get it to run again. It runs for about 10 seconds, shuts off. This happens so here I get my paddle, and I got 18-foot long, heavy kayak with a motor on it, and it paddles like a barge. So I paddled all the way back to the ramp, Couldn't get the motor going again. And then when I'm putting the kayak on my trailer, which I've done, I don't know, 100 times, I've managed to somehow snap the transducer mount off of the bottom of the.
Oh my gosh!
I pull it. I get it in the lot there, and I start messing around, see if I can find the electrical problem. I'm like, this is just not good. I never went to the campground. I just loaded up and rode right back home. I just got it fixed today. Here we are. It's just got it all fixed today.
Wow!
But you guys definitely persevered. You guys did a fantastic job. I'm so glad to see Will. Glad you are probably the most determined angler I've seen ever on their tournament trail. So I appreciate the fact that you've really set a great example. And here you are in second place in Newton. This is awesome.
Hey, it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I might have had Kevin. I wasn't sure, but yeah, winning second was. Had I won first, you'd have seen a grown man cry. You'd have seen me on the ground crying. So a good thing I didn't win first. So I didn't damage anybody's mental state by seeing a grown man rolling around crying on the ground.
There's always next year. I'll have my video camera ready.
Yeah.
Have it ready, because if I ever win first, you will see a grown man rolling around crying.
I'll hope I never see that one. Live podcast. That might be our first live one. Guys, thanks again for taking the time to visit with us tonight. Wish all of you a great fall, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you again.
Thanks,
All right, great seeing you guys.
Yes.
Thanks.